because I was watching last winter, and I was like, it was kind of a sick feeling. I'm like, oh shit, I get the bus is actually shadowing the panel, but the worst I ever saw it was about a third, so right around in here. I don't know if I ever got a picture of that or not, but so I figure if I just move the panel further away, we'll be fine. Hello and welcome to, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already. Alright, here's the plan and the issue. When I put the solar panels where they are, obviously I knew which way north and south was, but I didn't really realize how low the sun was going to get in the winter. So the panels actually get partially shadowed in the winter from the bus. They are facing south. I knew that putting the panels on the north side of the bus was not ideal. It's just that this side was out of the way. I wanted to build my shop on the south side of where the bus is, which I haven't done that yet either. And then when I moved the little camper shell, this one, to this side, that makes it slightly worse. The panels furthest from us get shaded by the camper shell towards sunset. By the time we get into December at solar noon, I'm going to have about 1/3 of the panels in the shade. I figured, okay, let me go ahead and move them. So I've got room roughly 6 or 7 feet further north. That'll take care of the shade problem. Part of the problem with this also is I know this is not the ideal system. This is not my last solar system. This is just something that was quick and easy, something to get me started. So anything I do on here is I'm not putting my best work into it. It's been good enough to get me through and then move forward from that. I'm going to take the panels off of the wood first and just set them all on the ground. Each one of these arrays that I built, the wooden frame, I've got one of these screw terminals. So I cut off the wire ends that come with the Harbor Freight kits, and I just put screw terminal ends on them. And then they're all in parallel. So it goes out the big red and black wire, and then it goes over into the sun to that panel, and that one's got another screw terminal, and that goes back to the bus. I'll cut all the zip ties to leave me some slack in the wire. And I think I can undo the panels, lay them down on the ground so that they're still catching some sun. Then I can move the frame. So my hope is to have a pretty short window of time where I don't have this panel producing. I'll get this one done first because this one's got the most shade in the afternoon. Because I was watching last winter, and I was like, it was kind of a sick feeling. I'm like, oh shit, I get... The bus is actually shadowing the panel, but the worst I ever saw it was about a third, so right around in here. I don't know if I ever got a picture of that or not, but so I figure if I just move the panel further away, we'll be fine. What I did though, I put where the clamps are. I've got a 2x2 clamped down there so that the panel can rest on that. That just makes things a lot easier so you don't drop it. Leaving them on the ground, they should still be producing power. Not ideal, but better than nothing. Yeah, it's working out well. Okay, this part is done. Got all the panels off. The screw terminal is removed from the board, so now I can remove the frame and start marking my new location. Also, just to add to the excitement of the day, gonna be a big deal. I just heard a cow somewhere on my property. I think I can sort of see it through the bush. I don't have cows, so he's broken through somewhere. She, more likely. Yeah, you hear this. The first bellow scared the crap out of me. I'm like, what the frick is that? You might hear it in the background. I thought I saw cow poop a couple days ago, so maybe I got one lost by itself or something. Never a dull day, huh? I used the simplest construction I could think of when I built these, so I used 1/4 by 20 bolts and nuts and lock washers. And I just hold it in position, drill a hole, clamp it, right? So what I did is on the top end is the pivot, and the bottom end I've got 3 different holes so I can adjust these for the different seasons. So that makes it easy. Whenever I'm building a project, I try to have a common size for my hardware. So 1/4 by 20 is about the smallest good sized bolt that's easily available. You know, if you need something really heavy duty, you go up to 3/8 or whatever, but these are pretty good. And if you use the same one all the time, you start to remember what size it is. So if it's 1/4 by 20, the wrench will be 7/16. So you grab yourself, you know, your 7/16 socket and a wrench. And this just makes it easier. You run your 3/8 drive socket adapter on your impact driver. Kind of overkill, but it's just, you know, faster. Zip them off. We'll do all of them and then just take it apart. Once it's taken apart, I'm going to take the frame without the posts, lay it in position, and then use that to mark where I want the post to be. Then I'll take my post hole digger and I'll dig some holes and set it in. This has been working really well. This is one of those things out here that the sand, it's easy enough to dig, except for when you hit the hard rock layer. But I can take my post hole digger, just manual, nothing, you know, powered, dig some holes, drop the 2x4 down the hole, pack the dirt in, and it's been working great. You know, these panels haven't moved. The windbreak I did the same way. The sand packed well enough that, you know, sometimes you think you'd want to put concrete or something in a hole to hold the post. I haven't felt like I needed it to out here, so go with simple, right? Alright, now the trick is to pop it off without dropping it on the panels. That would be annoying. I've got all the bolts out except for one, and if the clamps, yeah, you can see the yellow clamps on the bottom, that's just holding the bottom edge up. I got smart later on the lower set of holes. I drilled them oversized. It's easier to put together, but these top ones are friction fit. That where I can find it. I'm just going to slide it over the clamp. Set it down. Hopefully not on the panels. Good. Good enough. Now we find a better spot for it. Nice and light without, you know. I'll take out a couple bushes, I think. So I'll take out 1 and 2. Leave as many as I can. Cactuses I try to leave. The sage brushes are everywhere. I don't know, I just figure cactuses are kind of cool. It doesn't really matter. Okay, bushes be gone. If I set them up 4 feet higher, they'd be above all the bushes, but then they'd catch the wind. So, you know, a lot of people that put their solar panels up on the roof, they would stay a lot cleaner, and they're out of the way, so that's good. But they're harder to get to. This is nice and easy to work on the ground. Now that I've got the position marked for that hole, I'm going to take this and just draw a straight line. And then I'm going to move this out of the way so it doesn't get hit when I'm digging. Alright. This is a perfect day for digging. It's almost cold. Okay, that's where the first hole was. to dig the second one, just enough so I can see it in case I walk over it or something. I'm going to make a quick mark about where the ground level was. So I'm going to leave these in their hole until I need them, but I'm going to take one. That's the nice thing, it's easily removed. Just a little wiggle. So you can see I only used that much. I thought I went deeper than that. That was 11 inches, which is nice. I don't have to dig very much. I really thought I went deeper than that. That's a surprise. Alright, enough talking, more digging. Okay, 4 holes are dug already. It's going well. Good. I got the holes a little bit too deep, so when I get this thing assembled, I'm going to grab my level and then kind of lift it up and throw dirt underneath the post and then get it where I want it. Go a little more on this one. Done. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to put the top one in first. The back set of holes is still small, so I'm going to oversize them just a little bit. Make it. That was unexpected. Nuts on, but leave everything really loose for now. Now we are doing the middle set of holes, right? Because we still have December ahead of us. Yeah, as this gets adjusted, you do the adjustment 4 times a year, but there's actually 3 sets of holes. So your summer set is completely almost flat, so it's way up here. Spring and fall is here, and then winter will be way down here. That was the other mistake I made when I first made this, is I completely didn't understand how far down it was going to go. I was way off. Not exactly straight to the other one again. What happens? Oh, part, yeah, that's part of it there. And these are straight, will be better. Okay, not too bad. Grab my shovel. Start dropping dirt down the hole. Loosely at first, don't fill it all the way up. Hold it a little bit. Okay, that one's pretty straight. So now I'm going to grab a piece of stick and tap it down with, and we'll get the one next to it straight up. And then left to right, I'm going to try to get them to be level. Not high precision here. I say that a lot. It's still pretty easy to move. When we get them all tight, and after a while of like it raining a few times, these will pretty much lock themselves in. And
The other one, I mean, originally these were only 11 inches deep, so not even a foot. I think I'm going a little bit deeper on these ones. That would be pretty close, actually. Okay. Now, I don't want this to move anymore. Finish it off. That's about the extent of it, really. Oh, yeah, way off. Should check that one. Take a little bit. I exactly said this too. Don't do this. Now, across the top, holy cow, I'm only about half an inch off in 4 feet. It's way more level than I thought it was to look at. So, now that I've got some dirt down the holes, I'm just going to pick up on the whole side, and that should let the dirt fall in underneath it. Now, considering that this 2x4 is probably a little bit bent anyway, I noticed that these were flexing under the load. That's pretty close. That's pretty good. I'm going to leave that. I don't want to put a lot of stress on this. This one's off by a bit. Okay, so that one I can move. So I'm going to pack the back one because it's where I want, and then I'm going to take the front one off and then redo it. Okay. A little overcompensation there. That's remarkably good. Yeah. Fill it. I remember this from the last time too, and I figured a little bit of extra time now getting everything pretty straight. It's not 100%, but it's pretty good. That just makes things easier later. I should be able to adjust these without them binding too much, you know. You still got to loosen all the bolts and then slide them, but I think this will be alright. Since these are Harbor Freight panels, they have built-in stands, so I just stood them all up while I was working. That way they got a decent amount of sun angle on them. For what they aren't bad, really. using less power. Genius. Alright, going back together, I literally did slide these over one couple feet at a time, left them all connected to each other. Didn't really necessarily have to, but I hadn't really marked the wires when I put them on the screw terminal. Each wire is positive or negative, obviously, but they aren't color coded when I put them together. So I thought, okay, as long as the screw terminal itself is not disconnected, I'll have one positive rail, one negative rail. So I brought my multimeter out. Once I get these things set, then I will go back and check it with the meter, make sure that I know which one is positive. I'm going to mark it again. I got a red paint marker. I think the board is marked, but I hadn't ever thought about taking the screw terminal off the board. I think that's where the problem was. So, put this back together the way it was. I'm going to use my 2x2 again. When I put these on, I set a board across here the same way. See how close that is? So I'm going to just clamp this 2x2 in place so it's flush with the bottom edge of the 2x4 that's on there. And then my holes should all line up pretty close. So I'm going to put these upside down first just to keep them shaded. Yeah, this will be a temporary wire, then when I get everything set, then I'll go back and redo the big wires. Reset. Yeah, that'll be fine. Oh yeah, we got 15 volts and panels are all upside down. How about that? Okay, that one's close. Paint marker. Camera says 1222, so I think that means it's 1122. Both, okay, that frame is there, it's mounted. I just got to hook up the panels. Problem is, I did this really elaborate thing with the conduit, which is now in the wrong spot. And I don't know that I could really try to straighten that. So what I've decided, I don't want to rip it out and I don't want to mess with that wire. What I think I'm going to do, my plan, yeah, right there. I'm going to take my little recip saw and try to cut through this gently without hitting the wires. It's worth a shot. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but... Okay, we're through. This is where it gets tricky here because I can't see the wire, but I assume the wire is at the bottom half. See if I can gently. Fabulously. Ta-da! Freedom. Sweet. Take this loom off of here. Just kind of a quick one. Alright, that's off. If I have to, I don't mind cutting the end off of this. I've got a bunch of these now. feed it through. That would be cool. See if we can get the red one to go through. Okay, nice. Cool. This could well become a public service announcement for this is why you should plan things out a little better. That looks remarkably like it did before, except they're about, I think they're 10 feet further away. I honestly didn't measure them and I covered up the holes already, so whatever. The funny thing is now I'm looking at, oh man, look at all this open space. I got to put something here. So I honestly don't know what I'm going to do here yet, but I do need to keep it mostly open though, so it doesn't shade the panels, obviously. But maybe a picnic table or something like that over here. Fire pit would be nice. Not much to burn out here though. Alright, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you've been here for a while, thanks for your support. Any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. And I do my best to answer all the ones I can. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.
Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.